They beat a native woman and left her in the desert to die, believing silence would bury the truth. One rancher found her and chose justice over fear, knowing it would bring violence to his own door. What followed was gunfire, courage, and a moment where a broken woman stood back up and refused to disappear. Hey everyone, quick question before we begin. Where are you listening to this story from right now, and what time is it where you are? Drop it in the comments if you can. If you're enjoying these tales, please like and subscribe so you never miss one. Let's get into it. The desert wind blew softly like a secret from far away, pulling sand over the bare ground in thin, moving lines. The sun burned high above, making the earth feel like an oven. Nothing should have lived out here at this time, but she did. Half covered in sand, her body rested twisted where it had dropped. A native woman, though no one going past would have guessed it right away. Her black hair stuck together with blood. Her cheek swelled so much you could not recognize it. Dark marks covered her arms where fingers had pressed hard and kept her down. Each breath she drew sounded painful. They had pulled her out of town at sunrise. She could still hear their words in her weak memory. "Women like you don't get to talk here. You should have stayed silent. This is what happens when you forget where you belong." She had spoken out. That was her mistake. She had told others about taken supplies, about land grabbed wrongly, about men who used fear like a tool. And those men chose to punish her as a warning. The attack came quick. Boots, fists, laughing, then quiet. Except for the noise of horses leaving. They did not just leave her hurt, they left her to vanish. The heat pushed down stronger. Her lips cracked and dry. Her throat felt like it was on fire. She tried to move her fingers, but even that tiny try sent a strong wave of pain through her ribs. Breathing felt like sharp pieces inside her chest. Above her dark form, vultures flew in circles. She blinked against the bright light, her sight blurred. The world came and went as if night was slowly pulling her somewhere distant, somewhere peaceful. Maybe that would be simpler. Maybe that would stop the pain. Then the ground started to shake, far away at first. Horse steps. She thought she was dreaming it, just another dream before the end. But the sound grew louder, even real. A horse stopped suddenly a short distance away, breathing hard and nervous. "Easy, easy, boy," a man's voice said softly and puzzled. "What's wrong?" Boots touched the sand. Steps came nearer. There was a quiet moment, then a quick breath in. "Oh, God." Strong hands started to brush sand from her face. Shadow fell over her eyes as someone knelt above her. "She's alive," the man said, surprise in his tone. The men who rode off that morning thought the desert would end their job. They never thought the desert would guide someone right to her. He lifted her carefully as if the world would break if he went too fast. Her body felt light from losing blood and water, but every little move brought a soft sound of pain from her lips. He did not know her name, did not know her past. He only knew one thing. If he left her there, she would die. His ranch home stood alone on the wide open land, a plain place made more for work than rest. He pushed the door open with his boot and placed her softly on his bed, covering her dusty body with a blanket. Close up, the harm looked worse than he first thought. Marks darkened her skin. Her breathing stayed shallow and uneven. "Hold on," he whispered, already reaching for water and clean cloths. By dark, the town doctor had come and left, his face serious. "She's been hurt badly. Broken ribs could be worse. Fever starting," the doctor said quietly. "If she lives through the night, it will be a wonder." After he left, the rancher stayed. He sat in a chair by the bed, hat in his hands, listening to the weak rise and fall of her chest. Every time her breathing changed, he leaned closer, afraid quiet might come next. He had seen hurt animals live through harder chances. He had seen strong men pass from smaller things. Life had an odd way of deciding. Near sunrise, her fingers moved a little. His head lifted fast. Her eyes opened wide, unclear, full of fear. She tried to sit, panic filling her, but pain pulled a quick cry from her throat. "Hey, take it easy," he said fast, stepping back so she could see his open hands. "You're safe. You're in my house. No one here will harm you." She did not trust him. That was easy to see. Her eyes moved around the room, looking for danger and a way out. Her breath came quick and short. He placed a cup of water on the table, close enough to reach, and stepped farther away. "You were found in the desert, in bad condition. Doctor came. You're getting better." Hours went by before she touched the water. Days went by before she spoke. He did not ask anything. He made food, left it by the bed, and turned away to give her space. He cut wood outside, fixed fences, but always looked in on her. One evening, as the sky turned bright orange, her voice finally ended the quiet. "They thought no one would help me." He looked at her, calm and certain. They were wrong. Dust rose on the horizon like a sign carried by the wind. The rancher saw it from the porch while fixing a loose board on the fence. 3 riders coming quick, not lost cattle, not friends. His jaw became tight. Trouble did not ride that fast unless it planned to stay. Inside the house, she felt it too, that change in the air, the way silence turns sharp right before something happens. Her body still hurt with every breath, ribs bound tight, marks turning yellow like old memories. But fear had its own heaviness. It felt known. She moved to the window and saw them through the glass, shapes against the bright light. "They found me," she said, more to herself than to him. He stepped in just long enough to take his rifle from above the door. He checked it with steady hands, then looked at her. "Stay back. Door stays locked." She shook her head. "They won't stop." The riders stopped in a cloud of dirt, horses breathing hard, leather making noise. The one in front had the same twisted smile she remembered from the trading spot, the morning the people acted like they did not see. He touched his hat like this was a friendly visit. "Afternoon," he called. "We're here for what belongs to us." The ranchers stayed on the porch. "You're on my property. Say what you want and go." The smile disappeared. "The woman, give her to us. You don't want this problem." Wind moved through the dry grass. Somewhere a gate chain rattled. The rancher's voice stayed even. "She's not an object to give away." Another rider spit into the dirt. "You'd choose a stranger over your own people?" "I'd choose what's fair," he said, and he meant it. The first shot broke the air and split the post near his shoulder. His rifle fired back, sound rolling over the yard. Horses rose up, men shouted. Smoke floated sour and gray. Inside, she looked at the extra rifle on the wall. Her hand shook, not from being weak, but from old memories. She stepped forward, took it down, felt the familiar steadiness come back to her hold. Pain burned when she breathed in, but she moved anyway. She opened the door. One rider moved wide to go around the house. She saw him before he saw her. She steadied against the doorframe and shot. His hat flew off as he dropped low, surprised. They had not thought she would stand. They had not thought she would fight. They were going to find out. The last sounds of shots faded into the open land, leaving only the loud ringing in her ears and the fast beating of her heart. Dust settled slowly back down, covering hoof marks, boot prints, and the broken wood of the porch rail. When the leader had already run, his horse pushed hard toward the distance. The second tried hard to get on his horse, fear taking the place of the pride he came with. The third lay moaning in the dirt, his gun out of reach. Quiet came back, but it felt different now. Not empty, not weak. She stood in the doorway, rifle still up, chest moving fast. Pain burned through her ribs with every breath, yet she stayed standing. The rancher moved beside her, lowering his own gun, eyes looking far until he was sure the danger was leaving instead of coming back. "They're running," he said softly. She watched the smaller shapes, old memories flashing like quick light, the hits, the laughing, the moment they thought she would never get up again. Her hold on the rifle eased, not from being tired, but from letting go. Something heavy she carried inside finally moved. "You should rest," he said kindly. She shook her head. Not yet. For the first time since the desert, she felt the ground firm under her feet. Not because the pain had left, but because fear no longer controlled her. The rancher looked at her, not with sadness, not with question, but with something gained. "You didn't have to step out." "Yes," she said, "I did." Neighbors came later, pulled by the shots. They saw the damaged porch, the tracks, the story clear in the scene. Some looked away from her eyes, shame growing where carelessness used to be. Others nodded slowly, with respect. News spread quickly. By dark, the men who ruled with fear were the ones staying hidden. She sat on the porch steps as the sun went down, covered in a blanket, the rifle close by. The sky turned deep gold, then purple. For days she had lived one moment at a time. Now, for the first time, she thought past tomorrow. "They wanted me quiet," she said softly. The rancher leaned against the post. "Looks like that didn't work." A small smile touched her marked face. "They left me to die," she said, eyes on the distance. "Now they'll have to see me live." Hey friends, what did you think of that ending? Where are you tuning in from, and what's the time there now? If this story moved you, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.